At first, they were missing back home, and I started telling them, "This is home now."
We're not going to wait until somebody comes, makes it a better place for others to move in, because that's not fair.
Stop calling Hayastansi. There is no such term. We are high.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Highlight podcast. This is, I believe, the 11th edition of the podcast. I'm Lucineh Kassarjian, your host for today. And today we're diving into a topic that is that hits home for many at this point in the Repat community, which is choosing the right school for the children, being part of the sandwich generation, as we consider ourselves today, basically stuck, happily, gracefully stuck between parents and children. We do need to make sure that we have one of the biggest decisions that the repat parent would be facing around the children's education, of course. So what kind of schools there are, what's the difference between public, private, etc., and also international options. For this, we're very excited to have with us Armineh Panossian. She is the founder and CEO of A+Skills Educational Center. So you moved to Armenia in 2015. It's been 10 years. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
Can you please elaborate a little bit on why you're here?
So in 2014, when we were here on vacation, after returning to Lebanon, the first thing my husband and I discussed is repatriation. Because in Lebanon, we knew the situation is deteriorating, not getting anywhere better. So that was the option, because we were discussing to move away from Lebanon, And Armenia is our first option, but considering the difficulties, of course, we decided to take this step. So next year, 2015, first my son and I moved here, and a year later, my husband. So ever since then, we're here all together.
And the rest is history. Or present.
The present.
As they say. Well, welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
I'd like to introduce also Kevork, Noukhoudian, the business development executive at SoftConstruct.
Yes.
And you moved from Lebanon in 2021.
Yes. Almost 4 years ago.
Exactly.
It was spontaneous and not spontaneous at the same time. So I had been to Armenia earlier 4 times. It was in 2004, 2008. I was a participant in the Make Mushaguit, the festival. Mm-hmm. So every time I was here, something connected me to the country, to be honest. In 2012, I was here for a football match, Armenia versus Italy. It was a 3-day visit, but I went around, I liked the country, I liked everything, and unconsciously I started comparing to the life we have there. I mean, the country, the environment, and everything. Now, in 2018 and 19, as you know, in Lebanon, the crisis started, and I was always thinking how to make a move to a better future. And then in 2020, I decided to come. My brother used to live here. He was working here at Ameria Bank. Mm-hmm. I stayed with him 15 days. I made my studies. I searched some job to see how the job market is and everything. The last day before traveling back to Lebanon, I called to my wife and told her the decision is taken. I'm coming back just to pack everything and fly back to Armenia. We are going back to Armenia, being repatriated. Unfortunately, the next day, specifically the next day when I went back, the 44 days war broke, and then the political instability. So we had to delay sometime our repatriation. And then after around 1 year, in September 2021, in August actually 2021, I was sitting at home and called her and told her I'm not happy. I have decided to move. Yeah,
exactly. That's
now
it.
My dad has a travel agency. I called him. They were coming to Armenia on September 16th. I told him, okay, issue my ticket. I'm going with you. If it happens. I will stay there.
Right on that note, we'll be coming to a challenge. Let's discuss end of August, you decide, and this is September, and school year is starting. So challenges and challenges.
Okay, so the first thing, no, actually, I moved alone,
Okay.
alone
All right.
for a few months. And it was only on the next July, 2022, July, when I called for my family to come. I told them,
Got
please
it.
come.
Okay.
We are doing the move.
So I'll be shifting the question to Armineh. So your concerns, obviously you had done some research before coming here. And so what were your concerns on how to choose a school, a type of school, whether it's private or public? Can you explain a little bit
Yeah.
on the
The
concerns?
first concern was the school education, but luckily my sister lived here before me. She repatriated. She and her husband got married here and stayed here starting 2005. So my sister was my biggest guide and support. She also had children and she has some experience in searching schools. And she recommended me to send my son to Mukhidar Sebastati because it's an alternative school. Everyone knows this school by Blayan School.
So basically you had a mini Repat Armenia for yourself, a personal one.
Exactly. Because she had experience with the public schools, she wasn't satisfied. And since I'm in education, she knows how meticulous I am in picking these things and education-related stuff. So she said, you'll definitely won't comply with this education, with the public system. And honestly speaking, the private ones were extremely private, considering that we have an uncertain future related to our careers here. I mean, we couldn't take that step. So Mukhidar Sebastati was a better option. There was a fee, of course, but it's affordable. What I like in this school is extracurricular activities and education in a calm, relaxing environment without pressure. So my son was already 5 and 8 months, and he was ready to go to first grade.
Fantastic. We'll be coming back to all
yeah.
the extracurriculars
Sure.
because that is actually one of the calling points for children who also for parents who are given these opportunities, because some, coming from my experience or our experience in the US, you are exposed to a lot, obviously, depending on the level of your ambition and time and capacity. But the possibilities, and also we have to take into consideration the distances, because the distances are so much cozier and closer here. So it is possible in one day to do a tennis class and then come home, do a little bit of homework, and then the piano teacher might even come to your place, and then you might go to a rug making, or I don't know, like even dance class. So all of these are so many pluses that we also need to take into consideration. Although, for example, I would have loved for Armenia to have had, I don't know, like a Boston Children's Museum type place, or science, like different types of like exploratorium that San Francisco has. So these things are missing. Of course, we will be working on creating this, obviously, for the future generations. But the extracurriculars available here that are not available, especially from cultural perspective. Where would you learn rug making, for example? And I'm sure, for example, Blayan has it, and IB School also has it. And regular schools now have already undertaken the Armenian national dance classes, which brings out so much of not only the artistic side, but the Armenianness of it, philosophically also. So let's talk a little bit, because your son is 11th grade already?
Not right now, yeah.
11th. And so your children are a little bit younger. So what kind of extracurriculars are they doing, and what you would like them to be doing?
Okay, they are a bit younger, fourth and third graders. Actually, it took us some time to get integrated, adapted, and everything. Now, we are, like, since we go and work, my wife and I, we are not able to provide them that time. But what we do is we are focusing on the country, the history, and the sightseeing, like tours. Let's say what we do is every weekend we go somewhere. I
Just
take
geography.
yes,
And history and culture.
Yeah.
but I have in mind, and I'm getting prepared for that. Like the girl wants to go to I think, music classes, play something. The boy wants to go to football and everything. But the thing is, we are moving in the coming 2 months. Our like
Of course.
we are moving to another region, not region, but within Yerevan. But we bought a house and we are moving. So I want to find places like schools, extracurricular activities that are close to our new home, and to finally settle there down, and they would be like close around, and they would start those activities. It's only that thing that is delaying us, the location for now.
And obviously, this new generation Alpha. I'm sure they are Alpha, right? The interests have shifted, obviously, with the telephone and internet and everything. Do you think the school is kind of keeping them engaged enough to learn and to strive for more, to do other extracurricular?
Educational.
I'm just only talking education. We'll come back to education.
Okay.
Just extracurricular wise. I mean, would they be interested and excited about, I don't know, doing something with recycling or this or that?
Actually, they have in their curriculum like they call it the Shirchaga Ashkar,
Michavar.
Michavar, something like that. And they learn stuff, but I think it needs to be some kind of updated. I don't know, but
Reinforced.
yep. But at our school, they do like support some things. Like you may find like they come and tell, "Hey, today we did this. Today we did this." It was a teamwork. I don't know. The school recommended that we do this, for example. So
It is very important for us to be able to, because my children are already way out of school for a long time now. But it's I would like the Repat community to also hear about the current possibilities and opportunities that are given to children, because at this point the schools or the Ministry of Education, I don't know whether they're not advertising what is given to the children. And so I would like the diaspora or possibility for the potential repats to know that, of course, they're learning proper Armenian history, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, all of these nuances that are not being advertised or shown to the outside diaspora. I would like you as diasporans or repats who have children in schools to kind of expose these things, because they might not know. I have friends who are calling me because, of course, media is dangerous, and they're saying, "Oh my God, Lucineh, is it true that they took out, I don't know, Armenian history from school curriculum?" Of course, it's not true, but it's not being advertised. What is true and what is not true? So, for example, level of history classes, or level of math, or level of foreign languages. What are your comments on the level that you were anticipating and they are getting?
In terms of history, language, Armenian language, and other subjects, I'm satisfied. What is interesting in Ashot Bleyan school is that geography is learned in real life experience. They take them to the countryside, to the other geographical areas. They go camping or hiking, and during hiking, they involve the parents as well. So this is real life learning, which is very important for me. And in this school also, the educational system is updated, like it fits in the nowadays technological era. They use laptops, which some parents are against it, but I'm not. Because, yes, at the age of 6, why not? Yes, they should use a laptop for me.
Is it true for public schools as well?
No.
No. So
No.
it's a private school
Yeah.
phenomenon then.
I think it's an alternative of public school, because they follow the public school program, but they're not completely private school. But Ashot Blayan has this new program, let's say, and has enhanced the teachers, trained them so that they follow different educational methods.
I'm sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt, but you are
In
your
public
children go
school.
exactly.
Yeah, I
so
wanted to say something.
Exactly.
No, in terms of our case, the school is strictly bound to the curriculum put by the government and the ministry. There are some teachers who are trying to change some things, but they are bound to the curriculum. Like they do not have digital like whiteboards, for example. It's not that advanced. Although the principal, she's trying to make some changes, but it's taking a bit time, to be honest.
So is it a matter of advancement or capacity, financial meaning? I mean,
I think
if they had the opportunity, do you think they would skip it or they would just have it?
I'm not sure about that. I haven't discussed that with the
okay.
principal
All
because that might be something decision based or capacity, or because I don't know what resources they have or what they are bound to. So, but to be honest, sometimes I feel like the curriculum should be changed, the infrastructure should be changed, and a lot of things. Now, the school teachers are really good, but I feel like most of them are like the like above a certain age. But to be honest, like 1 or 2 months ago, I met a lot of young girls there, and I was asking my daughter like, who are they? Because they were involved in classes, going and coming back and forth with the teachers, discussions, etc. She said they are the new interns. So there is. I'm not going to say hope, but it means like we are going into changes. Yes. And of course, the youth and the new generation would bring some, let's call it revolution to the public schools because they need to have that.
Of course.
That's my opinion or the real, I don't know, but that's what I'm saying.
Of course. Having, and we'll be jumping from question to question just
Sure.
because there's just so much to discuss on
Yes.
this. Have any of you ever thought of homeschooling?
I'm against it, honestly. No. The most important thing for me is my son's social health to be integrated, especially that if we have repatriated here, I want him to be involved in the culture, not to be isolated.
Fantastic. Yes, I mean,
yeah,
and I
don't
believe
like.
it's not in the Armenian gene, to be homeschooled. Because it's just both
Yeah.
the parents or the mother
course.
who's mostly
Yes.
going to do the homeschooling has a variety of other responsibilities.
Yeah.
But yes, I know people who have homeschooled. But you're right. I mean, the
Yeah,
social
I don't
element
like
is basically
course.
Missing.
absent.
Learning
So-
in group, doing projects together, evaluating each other.
But is it something it's being done in Armenia? Like I haven't researched about
Lately,
that.
I guess lately.
Several parents who
Have started?
especially mostly repats, not mostly, maybe all repats, that have not been able to find fully, maybe like for close to like 80 to 90% of what they were looking for. And they had the capacity and possibility, so they have been
Yeah.
homeschooling, which is good for them. I definitely know I would not have the patience. And plus,
Yeah, and the social factor is something important.
Yeah.
They need to.
absolutely. So, how did you hear? So your sister
My
told you about
sister, yeah,
exactly.
about
So
this
how?
school.
But how did you? I mean, did you do like a research on how to? Because I don't want this to turn into one school example, but I also want to find out. Did you have another choice? And what made you
course,
decide
yeah.
on this?
So my sister, after having some years of experience in public school, she decided to shift to Waldorfian education. Maybe you have heard of this.
Yes.
The name of the school is
Areknazan.
Areknazan. So I had to decide between these two. When I researched about Waldorfian education, I didn't think that it will suit our needs. I know my son, what he likes. He doesn't like art too much, and their education is mainly with art and
Very
of course,
creative. Of course, it works
yeah,
for some. It
yeah.
doesn't work for others.
That was another option, actually. And So I opted for Bkhidar Zebastatsi, and honestly, I didn't do lots of others.
Got it. So you were just at the right place at the right time.
After meeting the teachers, I loved the way casually, even the principal, I didn't know that she was the principal. They welcomed us casually. They had a meeting and discussed everything.
Great. Let's jump into the question that you both, I'm sure, will be answering because I'm sure you will have examples of funny instances. So you and your wife both are Lebanese Armenian,
Yes.
and let's go to the languages. I'm sure actually there was a podcast on Eastern and Western Armenian, and we did talk a little bit about your son's Laveli versions. But any challenges that the children had? I know, for example, when my children were attending the school in San Francisco, my son started the KZV Armenian school, and of course it was Dasakan, not Arevmtahayren, with the so at home we were speaking Dasakan, Arevela as well as Arevmata as well as we were trying to obviously not pull them out of English because we had no idea we were coming back. But so they were exposed to these two. Your children were not in Lebanon with two Western Armenian parents. Do you like how they speak now?
Yes, actually.
Fantastic.
So when they were exposed, they had a bit hard time like getting integrated, understanding, learning. But the challenge they did overcome the challenge only because their parents supported them as well, and their environment supported them as well, like the teachers, their friends, and everyone. So they got integrated real quickly. So it was a challenge, but they did overcome in no time.
Did they have any obstacles? For example, I wouldn't say bullying, but maybe discomfort about their language from their peers, or it was.
Yes, at times they did have, and even at some very little times they were left alone, because to be honest, they were considered as outsiders or not from the same community or something. But of course, as I said, with the help of their teachers and with our support, and we used to talk to their teachers, to give them all the care and support needed, and to bring together the children. In no time, I'm saying, if you ask me, I'm very satisfied and happy for that.
As they say. But I really want you. It's wonderful that you're exposing this because we want the repats or the potential repats to also hear these stories because it's on a personal level that you get comfort from a parent who has already gone through this. That even if it's going to be difficult, but you come with a positive attitude that this is going to change, and you make a step while the other one also makes a step. So it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
You can't really say, okay, they're considering us outsiders, and so we have to quit. Of course, you don't quit because you're here with a mission to.
There is something I want to say, when I call outsider, the thing is. A lot of people here do not have much info about the diasporan Armenians. That's something I think there should be at least discussions at homes or at communities or schools, because why they consider a newcomer as an outsider, because they don't have any info about him or her, they don't know their background, what are they, who are they. So there's a link that is missing between
Absolutely.
Armenians of Armenia and the diaspora.
Same thing on the other side as well, as we were discussing. The diaspora also just has a very, I believe, outdated angle and attitude towards people who are residing in Armenia, or Hayastantis as they're called. And it's really hard to I am speaking from all sides as we were talking, because I'm very comfortable presenting the Hayastanti side and the diasporan side. But we need to talk to each other. And there's so many efforts that have done. I believe I remembered one of my friends, Nushik, had started a podcast on this. Armela Matahir and etc. Which is, I mean, it's a zavesht. It's really funny what's happening, but there's so much that is lost in translation, and we're not really using each other's capacity because we have outdated and archaic versions of us and our communication. So with children, especially with education, I mean, we will be able to, and I believe that's a great idea to even have, I don't know, maybe Repat can even think about that, have courses for public schools to bring and just say, you know what, this is our culture,
Integration,
just exactly integration, but just as we should have that also in our diasporan schools. You know what? It's not everybody is speaking Russian. So not all Stansi Armenians are Russian Armenians, or there's nothing wrong with speaking Russian. First, but this is a living, breathing, independent country with a new prospect we're going forward. And so the new generation is going to be there to communicate and to talk to each other and to wake each other up. So on that note, now we're going to talk about a little bit of difficulties. Is there anything that you wish you had known, for example, earlier, so that you might have skipped an obstacle or a problem in school while you're thinking?
I have to think, yeah.
No, because my mindset was set up such that whatever challenge we face, we will overcome it. And like everything, like it wasn't like, okay, maybe we had difficulties, but now if you ask me, I don't consider them difficulties. It was just learning paths, cases where we learned how to overcome. But in general, we didn't have that much difficulty. And I tell you this because of, I mean, my wife and I were very positive of everything. Like I have a funny story. Like it was in July, my wife and the kids came, so they moved. And now I'm doing their paperwork, and I go to the ministry and tell Mr. From the the diaspora community. No.
Oh.
Hovannes, our Hovannesian, Alexan Hovannesian.
Oh.
He's the assistant or
okay.
Manager of that community. So I tell him. So my because here it's the first grader needs to be registered online, so she doesn't have a social number, she doesn't have her papers. Like it's online registration, the school registration.
Does Repat? Sorry to interrupt, but does Repat have a procession, like a to-do list for how the parents
have, but they need to come first to move here, the kids, and then I needed to apply.
Register and
I needed to apply for social cards, their numbers and everything. Now, Mr. I think it was Hovannes Alexandrian okay, and he said, "Oh, that's very hard thing to do." And I'm okay. We came this far.
Yeah,
What is very
I
hard?
faced every challenge and got my family, everyone here. So we will overcome this as well.
Got it.
And we overcame that. Like it was only one phone call, and I don't know which department of the Ministry of the Education were just on the fourth or third floor of the same building. He came with me, and we solved the problem instantly. So that's the attitude I was in, and that's how I was running. So difficulties I had, but it was like all solvable and all is fine now. I don't even remember them.
Paperwork, of course, there were a lot of things to do, and luckily my husband was in Lebanon because some papers were missing. We had to get from there to here, translate. They needed to be approved by the ministry.
Of Foreign Affairs.
Foreign Affairs. The term is in Arabic in my term, in my mind. Luckily my husband was there, and so maybe I wish I knew more about the procedures, because I examined their website, and there wasn't anything written specifically for foreigners, especially that my son is Lebanese, not Armenian. That could have been helpful. Apart from that, I don't remember anything major. Of course, there might be a few things, but I don't consider them
Got it.
major.
So these are doable
Yeah.
or like regular.
Yeah, and an important thing is that like I advise all repats or people who are thinking to come and live, move here, like have a social life, like talk to people, approach
Yeah.
people, colleagues. Like my colleagues, as we call them in Armenia, hrashali kolikner, like they helped me in every step in terms of paperwork, know-hows, how things are done. Like for example, when I was going to apply for an apartment, loan for an apartment, and like my friend told me, be careful, there are these risks, be careful. Like, having and talking, like some repats come and isolate themselves, and then they find difficulty, and they cannot overcome those challenges and complain
I
sometimes.
agree.
So talking to friends, like making friends, talking to them, and like just ask them how this is done, and they would guide you. Like that's the lesson I learned. It was
It's a
useful.
community. Wonderful. And you, of course, obviously have Lebanese Armenian friends in your environment, and also maybe repats from non-Lebanese repats. I wanted to actually just get, maybe if you have them, just some examples of what kind of other obstacles they were going through. Because coming from Lebanon, the Armenian community is strong and organized, and it's a little bit different than, for example, if somebody's coming from France or from Argentina or from the US. Have you heard of any sub-level differences or difficulties that they might be going through? But if not, then it's just general repat bumps that we're all going through.
Language is the first thing, I guess, the first difficulty, because most of the Armenian community here, they speak Armenian, Russian. A few now speak, but I wouldn't call a few anymore because
It's a lot. It's
are
a lot.
speaking
I think compared to, for example, our
English.
neighbor Georgia, as I'm being told, the population is just only monolingual. They don't want to speak Russian, and they don't have experience. I mean, I shouldn't be saying this, but still, no, I think Armenia is quite multilingual at this point. They can
Yes, in the
communicate.
business environment, yes. But for example, like if they want to rent a house, for example, like the old
The real
generation,
Yes.
yeah. So I think language is a barrier.
Got it. And so we're talking about you now, but let's go to the children.
Children.
Are they happy?
course.
Have they adapted?
Yes,
Yeah.
they are. They are.
Let's start with the
Oh,
younger
so-
ones.
No, go
the younger
ahead.
ones.
Younger
Okay, so at first they were missing back home, and I started like telling them this is home now, and it will always be. And of course, we have two homes, Lebanon and here, but we are living here now. At any time, you can go visit and come back. Very few people, I told them, like very few people would have that opportunity to have two home countries, and you are lucky. But as time passed, they are happy here. They like the nature here. Like I like to take them out a lot. I take them to places and start telling them the story of the city. In parallel, they started learning those at school as well. So they are being connected to the city. I think it was a successful path because they love here, they like here, and
It's wonderful. As we were discussing, you will be giving them wings to fly and to
Yes.
learn. And obviously, the idea is, and hopefully that will happen, is for all these young, bright minds to go learn and bring all the
course.
capacity back. And I believe that's being just buried into the psyche of a child from a parent's attitude and perspective. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to always advertise this is the country, this is where we belong to, etc., etc. I think it needs to come from within, But seeing your moves, for example, if you're walking and you're just picking up something that you saw in the street because this is my country, because this is my home, even little examples like that, and we need to obviously spread it. It doesn't matter whether you're a Repat Armenian or not even Armenian. So this is our country, and we need to make it so it's a grand country, and we need to make it even better. Yes. What about Kevork?
Hrant. My son's name is Hrant. And from the very first day, I told him, there are two ways of speaking Armenian. One is this, one is that. But here, because it's our homeland, it's this is the way they speak. And he's also familiar because his cousins who were born here speak Eastern Armenian. So from the very first day, I was open to it. And it's the first step of adaptation. It would be my advice to all those who are thinking of repatriating. Of course, we love Western Armenian. It's my first tongue. But that's it. We are here now and we need to change. Even parents need to change so that the locals can understand us correctly. So I was telling him to learn of course, there was difficulty because he learned in Lebanon the Western for 3 years because in the kindergarten, they teach them even spelling. So the difficulty was in spelling. But after elementary 3, 4, when I saw that he needs support, we asked a private teacher to help him.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's another thing. The capacity and possibilities of you. It's all within your scope of how far you want to go to make this a doable experience rather than something that you're fighting against. Just going
no
with
need
the
to
flow.
Fight against.
You do not, because the experiences are different, obviously, from one person to the other. But the willingness to get and the reason why I'm also explaining this is for all the potential repats who are thinking about it. Yes, it is going to be difficult, but it is difficult for with any country. I mean, even if our children are going and moving to another country and even starting a regular international university, there's so many obstacles on that. And plus, we're not going to wait, as we were discussing, we're not going to wait until somebody comes, makes it a better place for others to move in, because that's not fair. That is so not fair.
Agree.
The so many funny instances that we have encountered since moving here in 2008 with young children. One of them was a really funny story, and my husband and I usually tell this, so I'm going to make this a public story. So our son has both our children have middle names as well, and so here it's still an accepted form to have the last name, first name, and father's name. So our son had,
4 names.
The U.S. passport says Miran Kassarjian, and it doesn't have the Rafi's name, right?
We have the same thing.
And then on the paper, they're asking for the father's name. So you have to go through the procedure, choose which one to put, et cetera, and so, et cetera. So this was in 2008. And again, this was not a time like you guys are now enjoying your freedom and your experiences with others. And at that time, we didn't have a lot of this kind of exposure. So the teacher or the TA at this point, not even the teacher, brought in, and we will talk about this as well, the PTA experience, the parent-teacher, the Noukhoudian experience. So everything happens in front of everybody. So this is something that is very different from our experience in the US, where everything was personal unless it's an organizational item. So the TA came and she's distributing some papers and we need to fill out the form. So she says, I don't know who the father is, whether it's Miran or Rafi, but please put down the name. So that was in front of everybody. So it was my first culture shock. Although, as I said, I was born here and I had my initial years here, my teenage years until late teens. But that was something,
of course,
quite shocking, But it is pretty funny. So we always, of course, laugh about this.
But till now,
this is a cultural thing. They're not here. It's the father's name, and I'm hoping for the time when we will have a different format of showing, lineage. And maybe the passport table will have the capacity to incorporate middle names as well, or something. But I mean, that's just a minimal thing, minimal issue. Now, going back to cultural differences, I want to talk a little bit about value systems. Now, my children, they love it here. They were born in the States. They grew up in Armenia. They studied in the States, and they returned. And maybe it's the Armenian gene, but it works for them. The value system works. They know what to expect from somebody who's maybe a friend or a foe, but they do know what kind of friendship or animosity they're expecting because it's theirs. And so having that communal exposure is familiar to them. But also there's so much from the value system that we're sharing with each other that is keeping them here, that is warming them up, and even their friends who are non-Armenians. For example, that community, I mean, nowhere in the world, or maybe in very few countries, and I give this example to so many of our friends, is you will never call your neighbor and say, you know what, I'm late from work. It's 4:00. Please go pick up my child from kindergarten, bring home, feed, and maybe let him or her do the homework. And I'll be very comfortable doing that. So this is something that people hear, and also some of repats also, but we don't appreciate fully what an incredible, for a young parent, what an incredible opportunity that is, possibility that is. And I can do that the next day as well. Of course, we're not doing that. While in the States, for example, you would have to call your close friend, even sister,
Family.
a week prior, or grandmother even, or grandfather, can you please come this hour to this hour, etc., etc. So, I mean, having those things, the cons and the pros, of course, I would like my child to have Academy of Sciences, but my child is safe here. There's less than 1 degree of separation, and everything is networked properly. It's one big happy, I don't know, village here, Of course, the good is that there is no privacy, but the bad is that there is no privacy, but also there is the good part, because you can rely on neighbors, friends, as you were saying, your colleagues, the
Environment,
collective,
it's community, collective. Yes.
collective. So, what do you value the most in your children's life that you're giving them from this education? I mean, this part of life that they're experiencing here.
You want to go first? Or no?
As you wish. Let me open parenthesis about privacy. I had something in mind. So another cultural shock is when I saw at the end of the term, they sent us email, our children's scores, grades, and I see the whole class all together.
Everybody
I
knows
was really
about
shocked,
yes.
And because in Lebanon this is something private. They give each parent,
in most
each
countries,
child.
yes.
Yeah.
But as we were talking about the community, right?
For example, why should I know that?
Niburaz gang.
Yeah, this was something shocking. Well, about cultural values, because we come from Lebanon, maybe not USA, I didn't find that the values are too different. Maybe the way parents raise in Armenia, parents raise kids let's say in Armenia, I saw difference between boys and girls, how they raise boys, how they raise girls, and I didn't like it. You're a boy, don't cry. You're a boy, you can swear. You're a boy, no, I'm against it. In Lebanon, we were, I can say, we were more strict in raising up. It comes because from our upbringing, the way our parents raised us, respecting others' limits, maybe the personal limits. But these are minor things, I guess, and it happens in every country.
Of course.
Yeah.
But what is it that you're happy from the value system that they are experiencing, that he's experiencing?
Connected. They're so connected. They value friendship, helping each other. Yeah, I can say these are the most important things. I'm happy with these.
Fantastic. If you had to do it again,
If I have to do again,
if you had to do it all over, would you?
yeah, I don't have any regrets. Honestly, I'm so happy. Even I came here before the crisis began. I had a hunch. Yeah. Of course, sometimes my son misses his homeland. But I think he got adapted. Yeah.
Well, we have plenty of new and old low coasters now, so it's a possibility for Armenia to be the center of to travel everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely, yes.
For my kids, like I see small stuff like that. Like for example, one time he was going to drink a water from the bulbulak, and there was a police officer like waiting and told him like "Khami akhberes," and he turns to me and akhberes, yes, you're akhberen. Like I'm his brother. Like for
Taking
example,
literally.
yeah, like the value system here, like as you said, it's one community almost, and people are hospitable, trust in the sense that like the kids are going downstairs, playing with, creating friendships, and they are starting to call each other Akhber. That means like brotherhood and everything. Like I like it here, but as Armineh said as well, like we used to teach them there as well, like respect for the old, and of course stay like humble always, and there are big differences, but not that much differences from the Middle Eastern culture to the Armenian culture, unlike
It was
like
a smoother
Europe
transition for you.
yes.
Because this, I mean, we always want to, well, we're here and we're happy here and we want others to also come. So for those potential repats, what would we be giving them as advice, or what would we be telling them? Because so many, being basically between two generations as we started, it's all about how are we going to deal with our parents, and what are we going to do with our children? So this is our
Yeah.
main question right now. And so obviously, hopefully, the educational system will be improving as we go, because we do see tendencies. It's not going as fast as we would like to, but that is one of the main questions for potential repats. So if I had to, for example, advise or refer that their children are going to have a normal possibility and potential for them to become an erudite and basically go through the educational system properly here in Armenia, what would you say? Like somebody is calling you, and they are
Yeah,
calling us
they
a lot,
are.
right?
Especially in the
Exactly.
You are the
beginning.
expert.
Exactly.
And even I had the thought I should open an agency
There you
here.
go.
Consulting.
There you go.
Consulting agency. Of course, I help my friends, whoever asked me. And in the very beginning, I made lots of posts, like in Lebanon, friends, see here, parks are free. We don't have to pay to enter a park, whereas in Lebanon, everything we had to pay, even children's parks.
Really?
Yeah. There is, I mean, there are no public parks, actually.
Okay.
So my friends...
Please don't advertise that here.
Exactly. Yeah, they were asking, so Armin, you look very happy. How come? Because like everyone was expecting, I'm going to miss Lebanon. Well, I say here, you won't believe, there are many opportunities. In every corner, we have a walking distance, we have parks, we don't have to pay extra.
I don't think we have enough parks. But
I mean, compared to Lebanon, I'm talking.
True.
Yes.
True. I'm comparing to other
Other
countries.
countries, you're right, yeah. Where was I? Yeah, what advice I would give? Definitely, I would tell them that, first of all, it's your decision. You have to make up your mind. About parents, we left our parents, especially that all my sisters were abroad. My bigger sister is here, the others are abroad. And my parents were old and they were there. But I had in mind that they will come. And they came in 2020. After the explosion, we convinced them to come. Of course, it's really difficult for elderly to move, but there is support from children as well. This is my advice, that take the step and the solutions will come along. Because if you stay in the first step and all the time you think about the problems, you won't get ahead. take the steps, and each time, for each difficulty, there is solution. You don't like the educational system? You change the school. You change the school, there is something missing, like I did. I hired private teachers. I mean, you have to be optimistic in life because that's the way to go on, I guess.
Flexible.
Yeah,
So,
especially flexible. And who said it was easy for us to leave our houses there, to come here and pay rent, to explain the kid that this is not our house, moving couple of different apartments. And you mentioned something very important, the attitude of the parents affects the children's attitude. Yeah. So to start with, if you're really thinking about repatriation, first of all, have this positive mindset about it. And stop calling Hayastansi. There is no such term. We are high. Of course, we used to do that to differentiate which high.
But then, for example, if you say Fransa High, there's Parisa High, and then there's Leona.
Leona High.
Exactly.
In Paris, there's different district of. So
Yes.
we can go as far. But you're so right. It's all
Yeah.
about the attitude.
It's accepting, it's very important accepting that, yes, this is a different culture. We are Armenians, but we've been raised in different social communities. Of course, there should be difference. So be open for that differences and see how you can find solutions. Even with my son, I didn't interfere much. I let him solve his problems. Of course, there were some limits when I need to interfere, but I wanted him to find his way out and to find himself be part of this group. And till now, he has made lots of good friends. Although in his class, there was a guy from Lebanon as well. And it's not that they were all the time clicked together, but he made other local friends. So this is my advice.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
And be open-minded about it. Be positive, be optimistic, because it all starts from our mindset.
And it's not only about advertising that you're Armenian. Just act on it, right?
Exactly.
100%.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. I tell them to very close ones because they might get offended. Of course we are Armenians. Of
You know
course we
what?
are. Yes, but
To each their own. I mean, we do need the diaspora as well, although we're not really using the diaspora's capacity fully. We do need the diaspora, but there's so many possibilities and opportunities for us to be here as well.
Okay, what I would say is about this, you are right. Like Armenia is not using, you said, the full capacity of diaspora, but the diaspora needs to understand as well, like they cannot only love Armenia from outside. We need to act on this
Feeling.
yeah, and
As
try
notion.
to do something here. Now, what I would say to new movers, especially if they are family, expectations is everything. Like you cannot say I am here and my expectations are here, and come to Armenia, find out like it's here. The expectations are here. You need to understand that you don't need even to put expectations. You are moving, although Armenia is our Armenia. We are all Armenians and everything, but there will still be some differences, cultural differences, how things are done. So when you are planning to move, do not complain on everything. Like maybe this is how our things are done in this country. Maybe you'd find something you were doing it wrong, and here the way they do it is like, for example, here life is less stressful compared to Lebanon.
Yeah,
For
I
example,
agree.
in Lebanon, like school starts at 7:20 a.m. So you
Yeah,
need to
we
get
have
up
to
at
leave it.
at 6. Like now with this new rule at 8:15 classes start, like people are complaining, and we like, okay,
It's fine.
nothing changed for us.
It's all about perspective,
Yes.
right?
So, and when it comes to kids, I always consider like a family is a teamwork, one unit. The parents should be always ready to support their kids and ready to support themselves. It's just a matter of first, I don't know, maybe 1 year or a few months to overcome all the challenges, and everything would go. Like you want to do something good, you need to bear that burden, and like, but it's temporary. Trust me, it's temporary. And always believe like tomorrow is going to be better, coming days would be better. And on
the
that
fruits are going
attitude,
to-
yes. At school, we had like different point of views with teachers, how things are done, etc. But we always called the teachers directly and discussed with them, not fight or argue with them, but discuss with them. That's the attitude expected from new repats. Of course, it's not easy, but you need to know how to work out things. That's the advice I would give.
Fantastic. I would actually add that I think parent, teacher, and school collaboration is not what, for example, I was used to in the US. It was completely different. The parents were more involved in school and they were giving back. And it was not obviously right now, it's 95% their mothers that are involved in school here, which is we need to change that dramatically and drastically quickly. But that also could be a catalyst to change how we perceive what school is giving to the parents, to the children, and so it's as we discussed, it is a two-way street. So you can't really only complain about something that is not happening. And coming from a different culture, you also bring something that you value in a different culture and try to incorporate, because why not? Because we do need that. So thanks so much for our guests for sharing your
Thank you,
experiences. And choosing a school is a very personal thing, of course, as we discussed. And but hearing real stories from each of you makes it a bit easier for others who are thinking about it to kind of walk the same walk. And so if you found today's episode helpful, please subscribe to Highlight and share it with another potential or real repat, happening repat. And we'll see you in the community in Armenia.
Sure.
Thank you.
We are here.